It's Miles.
It's trouble.
It's the Make It Make Sense podcast.
Yay.
How are you, my friend? It's good to be back.
I know it, man. I feel like it's been too long, bro, but I'm good. I can't complain, bro.
Yeah. I think now we'll be able to do it a little more consistently. It's my fault, by the way. I had a lot of things happening here at the studio. Good things, but things that took time. So now that's clearing up, and we're going to be able to focus and keep this ball rolling because you know what?
I like it.
Dude, there's a lot of things that are happening that I'm starting to grasp onto and have a million questions, and I have no one to ask. So we have to have these for my sanity.
Okay. I'm glad I can help your sanity, bro. I think that's what friends are for, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So before we dive into all of that, because I definitely, you have some interesting things that we want to unpack that I cannot wait. If we're talking about frequencies and things like that, that's right in my lane. So I can't wait to do it. But before we do that, I'm gonna admit I'm a little out of the loop with Kendrick Lamar and Drake, and that might be the oldest thing a person could say right now. But you know what? It's the truth. So please educate me and maybe the few people that don't know what's going on with that.
I just think it's a good thing for hip hop overall, bro. I feel like hip hop was founded off of how do I word it? Competition, you know what I mean? It was founded off of
Mm-hmm.
proving who you were, proving your worth, showing that through skill. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that this is what's needed. Bigger names in hip hop to kind of, go back and forth. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it's ever gonna reach a level like Biggie and Pac where it got, very physical and the altercations,
Yeah.
things like that. But I think right now a lot of people would agree that Kendrick is winning.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll see, man. It's been a lot being said, bro. Like,
Yeah. So when you say he's winning, like what is the game that's being played? Like what? Because to me on the outside, it looks like a bunch of rich dudes just getting at each other. So what's really going on?
see, that's a good question. Okay, so the inner workings of hip hop, I think, are different than any other genre of music.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is why hip hop is so synonymous with other sports
Mm-hmm.
because competition is such a base of hip hop
Right.
that is more competitive, I think, than any other genre of music.
I would agree. Yeah.
So you look at the originators of hip hop, it started off with guys being from the different sides of town, and hip hop is not just words and
Mm-hmm.
lyrics, that's a part of it. That's called wordsmithing for the people who don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's what rapping originated as, is wordsmithing.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why for the purists they want, words to matter because that's originally what a wordsmith was supposed to do, i.e. a blacksmith. You put things together, you build things with your words.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um so you also have dance, you have DJing, you have graffiti, you have all of these different branches of hip hop,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody would tell you hip hop is a lifestyle, something that you live.
Okay.
So if that's the case, if I'm from one city, one part of the same city,
Mm-hmm.
but we do something a certain way and we got our old our OG, kind of like you had Grandmaster Flash and
Mm-hmm.
DJ Cool Herc,
Mm-hmm.
excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
So you had those kind of characters, and there's a great show that was on Netflix called The Get Down that like
Mm-hmm.
showed all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
man, I thought it was an amazing show. If you haven't seen it, look it up. It's called To Get Down, and it explains a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a lot of these people that are living their everyday lives, but Grandmaster Flash and DJ Cool Herc, they're their own DJs.
Mm-hmm.
They have their own DJing style. They created what we now know as how people sample music and things like that, and
Okay.
was translated into hip hop later.
Okay.
So all of this kind of stuff is how it started, but you got these guys from different sections. They used to have battles on who's the better DJ, who has the better dance skills, who's the better B-boys.
Right.
So all of that translated to when you get your wordsmiths, now it's like, well, you got words, but are your words better than that guys from over there's?
Yeah.
Like do you reach the people better?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like that's what it's rooted in.
Does the beat guys team up with the artists and work? Are they battling at the same time with the wordsmiths or as well, or is that not really so much the
Um,
case?
that's a great question. Actually, I've never been asked that before.
Mhm.
Sometimes, yeah,
They have an
I
allegiance.
yeah.
Yeah.
So let's use the Drake and Kendrick
Mm,
situation for
mhm.
instance.
Mhm.
Um, if you are the producer who's tasked with making the beats for these individual diss songs,
Mhm.
you gotta listen to what was kind of responded to, what was given to you by the other guy, and also come up with whatever the energy is that your particular artist is trying to convey with their diss track too.
Right.
So you are, I think, a way more integral part of the piece of the puzzle, excuse me,
Mhm.
than a lot of people give credit for.
Mhm.
Beat selection matters,
Yeah.
and as the producer, you have to be able to convey the energy of whatever this artist is trying to do in the middle of probably one of the most crucial times ever.
Yeah,
So
true.
I think when it's as big as this,
Mhm.
yeah, there's somewhat of a battle between the producers as well. It's just
Okay.
not as more it's not as ferocious, or it's not as tenacious as it would be between the two artists, because
Mhm.
it's like being in the ring when you're boxing, kind of like we'll talk about some boxing and stuff a little bit later,
Mhm.
but it's like when you're the trainer, yeah, you trying to outsmart the trainer. If you're a basketball coach, you're trying to outsmart the other basketball coach, football coaches, all the same concept,
Mhm.
but you're not as involved with it as the players who are out there getting physical, or the MCs that
Sure.
have to actually be the ones to
Yeah.
dish out these and live
Yeah.
with the face of whatever the consequences are. So yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So you think this is more or less, is it gonna end friendly and it's gonna be over and they're gonna get more record sales, or is this just gonna be a
Ah,
blip that we're not gonna think about in 3 months?
I don't think we won't be able to think about it, because Drake has never been in a position to where he's had to respond like this.
Mhm.
He's been a he's been gotten at by a lot of guys. He's good at sending his little subliminals and keeping it moving.
Does he write the lyrics or has he got people penning it for him?
I think the issue with Drake is he can write,
Mhm.
but he does have a lot of help
Yeah.
with his lyrics and stuff like that. He does have ghost writers.
Yeah.
Ironically,
I
but
I know if you ever came at me with a rap beef, I'd find everyone I know to destroy you. I wouldn't write one word because I can't.
see, you're not a rapper.
Right.
So again, that's like
Oh,
saying,
yeah, so if he gets exposed for doing that, they're like, "Oh, gee, this guy."
but see, it's already happened. Like
Oh.
Daylight, who is one of his writers, I have to say this for the record. So for anybody who's been following the beef, y'all remember when the Like That song came out, because that's kind of what kicked it off,
Mhm.
Drake and J. Cole did a song called First Person Shooter.
Mhm.
In that song, there was a lot of little jabs that felt like they were both coming at Kendrick Lamar.
I actually did hear about that, yeah.
So
But J. Cole
Future,
bowed out though, right?
yeah.
Mhm.
So Future, yeah, I don't even want to talk about that. We'll talk about that another time.
Okay. Alright.
So Future and Metro Boomin, who used to do a lot of music both with Drake,
Mhm.
they decided to come up with an album called We Don't Trust You, and basically the whole album is dissing Drake in different ways.
Future and Metro?
Yeah.
Okay.
So on one of the songs called Like That, if you look at the track list,
Mhm.
it doesn't say featuring Kendrick Lamar.
Mhm.
So when the song comes on, you listening to it, the song is good, and then Kendrick comes on, and you know how they talk about him, Drake, and J. Cole being the big three of hip hop right now.
Right.
Kendrick is like, fuck the big three, nigga. It's just big me. That's kind of what started it. And
Oh,
then,
okay.
but one of the lines that Kendrick said was, "Your best work was a light pack." And
Mhm.
that, to a lot of people, that just sounds like he's saying his light work is easy.
Mhm.
But the irony is, one of Drake's writers is a man named Daylight.
Okay.
Is a light pack. He gave you a pack of lyrics, and that's
Right.
your best work.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And
Got it.
ironically, Daylight is from Cali.
Mhm.
So
That's where Kendrick's from, right? Compton or something?
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if, I think Daylight might be from Compton too. I'm not 100%. No, I think he's from Watts. I
Okay.
think he's from Watts.
Mhm.
But nonetheless, that's still,
Sure.
so
Yeah.
to have that kind of little shots like that, he's saying it there. And
Mm.
I think it's turned. it was a popularity contest at first that Drake used to be able to easily win with.
Mhm.
Nice little, I dropped something because I got a bigger fan base. It kind of washes out whatever the other person said if I
Right.
do respond.
Right.
You can't
Right.
do that with somebody like Kendrick.
Mhm.
So I do respect that. I do respect, I do have to say on the record though, I do respect Drake not just turning into a bitch and not responding.
Mhm.
And I respect that he at least tried to come at it like, yo, I'm not finna just let you do me like that, bruh.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
respect that. I think
Mhm. I mean, he has to, right? Well, then I guess he doesn't, a la J. Cole.
I
Yeah.
mean Drake can't afford a J. Cole route though.
Yeah.
J.
Because J.
Cole
Cole's he's not like that type of artist, right? He's more of a peaceful, progressive type of guy.
that he gets that
Storyteller.
image, but so when he dropped his disc that came out where he supposedly dissed Kendrick,
Mhm.
he dropped a whole album, like a whole mixtape the
Mhm.
same day. And there's
Mhm.
a lot of songs where I think those songs were harder and much more direct shots at Kendrick than what the song was that actually got the credit for his
Oh.
diss to Kendrick.
Okay.
So I think Kendrick hears that and kind of like, yo,
You
all
want some of this
right.
smoke? All right.
So he gives it to both him and your boy, and yeah,
Uh-huh.
it just. But then he knew that Kendrick wasn't about to just let it slide because he petty like that. Because I think, were very close at a point,
Mhm.
and he
Who?
would
Kendrick and
and
Drake?
J Cole,
Oh, J.
Kendrick and
Cole?
J. So
Okay.
J Cole's like, I know what this nigga up to. I'm not in this. I don't.
Right.
I changed my mind. I was mad. Drake got me fueled up. You
Yeah.
right.
I'll just respectfully bow out.
You got it, bro. I'm
Mhm.
gonna disappear for a little bit. Come back.
Yeah.
Drop some shit later.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. So that's with us always talking about frequencies and being careful what we put in our mind. I mean, do you think listening to that diss track is it almost at our like a disadvantage to ourselves to listen to this back and forth? Is it messing with our vibration, lowering our frequency, dealing with that? He listening to that, I mean?
Okay, so I think in order for any person to be a high frequency being,
Mhm.
they have to be able to do what's called shadow work, where you
Mhm.
tap into the darknesses, for lack of better words, of your own spirit.
Mhm.
We all like drama to some degree.
Mhm.
We all like parody to some degree.
Mhm.
If you don't, you're probably a stale person. Like,
Mhm.
let's just call a spade a spade. This is
Mhm.
why we like sports. This is why we like certain things.
Right.
And to me, music is sport.
It's like the spirit
So
of competition
yeah, so
lyrically.
as long
Yeah.
as it stays pretty on the record,
Mhm.
I don't think it's too damaging for the image or for anybody to take it too far. I think it would
Yeah.
actually set more of an example.
Mhm.
Hey, bro, like kind of with boxing where it's like two guys with zeros, they ain't never lost. You
Mhm.
can fight and you might lose, but you still can keep your stuff. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
you can still. I
Mhm.
think that it can get back more to that because that happened
It's
back in
more
the
of a net
past.
positive than actually messing up our frequency, our vibration. It's actually it does you don't think it
I
has a
think
negative effect.
Yeah, I think it allows us to kind of purge out those little we like drama moments and in a
Oh,
more
okay.
constructive way because you're now deciphering lyrics,
They
your
they call that
different
what
kind of
cathartic,
things.
right? When you're being cathartic, I think that means
I never even
so
heard of that.
cathartic. I think, and I might be
See, you
wrong.
teaching me some shit.
Yeah, I think
Maybe.
cathartic is like when people are feeling sad, so they'll listen to sad music so they can cry and like really like lean into the sadness. I think that's what being cathartic is. So in a sense, if you're listening to their battle and you're getting like amped up and fueled up and going through that through them, it's a type of catharticism that has sometimes proven to be healthy depending on doctors who you ask.
Yeah, so okay, so maybe not to that extreme,
Mhm.
but more or less just in the sense that like I say, like we all like parody and peril to some degree.
Yeah.
Some people ground it out through watching fights. Some people
Mhm.
ground it out through actually fighting.
Right.
Any some type of drama human beings are addicted to some degree.
Yeah.
So I think if there's any way to ground it out, the best ways are sports and
Mhm.
music. And as long as it stays sport, where it's just a lyrical battle,
Right, and doesn't go over the line.
yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
you can cross the line to some degree as long as you're not actually trying to physically harm each other.
Right,
Unless it actually calls
right.
for that kind of beef,
Yeah,
it ain't no need to be that kind of beef. You know
got
what I
it,
mean?
got it. So, yeah, that brings me into a video that you wanted to, check out, and I'm kind of excited. I'm gonna pull it up real quick.
Point of music. What's the point of music? Niggas don't know. It's not always to have fun. It's not always to have fun. Sometimes it's to help people find themselves because music is frequency programming. Music is frequency.
So this is
So
XX talking about frequencies in music.
I will hope a motherfucker before they go pull some negative shit out this conversation, they pull this part of the conversation.
I ain't gonna lie, I forgot everything he said in here.
Helping people, bro. Let me be detailed. At 15 years old, I was doing sound engineering, so I was playing with frequency. I was playing with equalizers. I think it's it's not a sonar wave. I forgot. It's like an alpha wave or a sonar wave or something like that. I figured out that hertz is to understand the frequency vibration, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's kilohertz. Right. There's hertz, kilohertz, megahertz, right? And then I think it's ultrahertz. If I play with those frequencies, right, I can target certain parts of the mind, target the frequency to go to certain parts of the mind, and I can literally, like, if I want you to astral project, right? You know what astral projection is? No. If I want you to astral project, or if I want you to go to sleep, or if I want you to go into a meditative state, I can make my music do that. These little niggas out here don't give a fuck enough.
I want to learn how to do that.
Science, bro.
Wow. Yeah. So that's man. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so basically, the reason that I was interested in bringing that video up is because first I want to bring up, I seen this thing online where it says Colorado passed this bill where it says that it's the first bill ever to protect your brainwave data. So it's like,
say that again. It protects what?
Brainwave data.
Brainwave data. Okay.
So before we get there, we got to give a shout out to somebody who commented on one of our YouTube videos one time. They had a question for us. I can't say that I have like the exact answer you might be looking for, but I think that we got some answers for you in this next part.
Definitely. And just a shout out to let me get his name here real quick. It is at the JAIRCRUZ. Yair Cruz.
If that's not your name, sorry, we tried.
You know who you are.
We respect that you chimed in, and your question is exactly the question was. You can just say it.
Yeah, it says, bro, aren't they using AirPods or Bluetooth frequencies to pick up on your brain signals and AI to decode your thoughts?
See, that is a beautiful question, and I can't say for sure exactly if they're doing those exact things, but what I can tell you for sure is this. What we were just talking about with the Colorado law being passed about the brainwave data. Where in the hell are they getting data from brainwaves? How is it possible?
How are they even collecting it?
Exactly. Who are the companies that have been put in place that even have something to collect brainwave data into? Do you get how deep just that what hole goes? Like, how the fuck does one collect your brainwaves?
Yeah.
What do they do? They go by grabbing the air and can take your thought out of the air?
I have no idea. I've never even tried to think about brain. So is this somehow what we're doing with the Oculus? Is this like methods of collecting it? Is it using phones? How is it harvesting the brainwaves?
Now, that is something I can't answer definitively because I don't have like a definitive answer. But from what I have understood and from some of the research I've done, it leads back to Mr. Cruz's question about how they could be getting our information, our brain, like our thoughts and stuff can be getting sifted through Bluetooth or things like that. So frequency, going back to why we showed you the whole XXXtentacion video to begin with, everything matters. Sorry if it seems scattered, but frequency is powerful. Frequency is something that every one of us has an atom, has made up of atoms, billions of them. Every one of our atoms vibrates at a certain pace. Everything, every object vibrates at its own particular molecular pace, its resonant frequency.
Yeah.
If you can tap into something's resonant frequency, you can have control over it or manipulation over said thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So our bodies are made up of over 70% water.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that frequencies and water tie hand in hand.
Yes. Yes.
So it is much easier to manipulate a human body through frequency changes and manipulations than it would be for anything else. So music plays a huge role in that kind of a concept, which is why I wanted y'all to see the XXXtentacion video where he's talking about the different level of hertz and the different levels that your mind could be manipulated to, or how your mind could be manipulated by listening to a certain type of hertz. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that when you look at that at an even more minute level, you get the idea that people you get the idea
My bad.
Nah, you good, bro. You get the idea though that people understand these concepts at a very, very deep level. Our ancient people understood these concepts at a very deep level. This is how they were able to heal through sound and things like that. So all of that plays a role. But also everything, like I just said, in your body is at its own resonant frequency. What if they learn how to tap into the resonant frequency of your brain?
Now you resonant frequency is everybody have their own unique frequency that they kind of are. What would you call that? They're consistent. I guess. What is that? What is resonant frequency? I guess.
So basically, and to my understanding, yes, everybody does have their own unique. Everything itself does have its own, like everything.
Yeah,
but
like a resting
being.
thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
but living beings have the ability, like humans, we can raise our resonant frequency by gaining more knowledge and things like that. This is what we talk about being woke, or raising your vibes or things like that. You raise the vibration of the atoms inside of your body.
Yeah.
Which vibrates you at a higher level. Light operates at an extremely high level of vibration. So the higher you vibrate, the closer you are to light, literally.
Whoa.
So
whoa, you're blowing my mind. All right. Okay.
So all of this being said, we take all of that back to frequencies and how that ties into what we were just talking about with brainwaves. And how they can take your brainwaves is beyond me. Where they can collect these kind of data things are beyond me. Now, as far as the question of if Bluetooth has something to do with that, I don't know. But I do know that they have acoustic weapons, not necessarily just weapons, but acoustic tech, things like that, that can make you think or feel a certain type of way.
Right.
Acoustic weapon, for instance.
Make you sick?
Yeah. They can fire a gun that sends off a wave that makes you feel like you feel a jolt, or you feel like a sense of fear, where it literally shoots fear into you because of the resonant frequency that it shoots at.
Wow.
Or it can hurt your ears and you hear this sound inside of your ears that you don't know why you're hearing it, but it makes you back up or react. And
do those frequencies, do they have an audible sound that you're aware of?
No, they don't.
So it sounds similar to how people talk about experiencing alien encounters.
Exactly. It's the exact concept. This is where, to my knowledge, they've gotten these ideas for this technology.
Makes complete sense.
So for anybody who thinks that's crazy, bro, just look up everything. It starts there. They check it, they review it. Everything doesn't come directly from aliens, but there's a lot of reverse engineered technology that they use to put into play. You know what I mean?
And I'm learning thanks I'll say 95% to you, and now the additional 5% to Billy Carson. Now I'm redesigning what I think an alien actually is. I always thought aliens, gray, big head, big black eyes, but alien doesn't have to mean that. So if you can wrap your head around an alien technology being an alien that might look like me, I might be an alien. You don't know, but I could be someone passing. Like, it isn't just the brown ET in the movies. It's something completely different.
Right.
And once you start digging into that, nothing sounds too far-fetched.
Right. So if you can wrap your mind around that, again, like you said, this shouldn't be too far-fetched, but what should be alarming to you is the fact that for them to pass a law about this, that means it has had to been going on for some time.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
did they start stealing brainwaves?
Yeah.
And then again, it's like you can go back to MK Ultra where they were telling you they
Mhm.
can delete memories,
Mhm.
they can delete dreams, they can install dreams, they can make you dream things. You know, all of these different things. The mind is very manipulated. It's very manipulable. Manipulatable. If that's
I know
even
what
a
you
word.
mean. Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And there are people and scientists in different like sectors. I'm high. I didn't want
We're
that
gonna
shit
figure
to
these words
sound
out together.
crazy.
We're gonna figure.
I didn't want that shit to sound crazy. It sounded even worse trying to fix it. But nonetheless, that have extreme acute knowledge of these situations
Mhm.
and of these things and these sciences, and they
Yeah.
can definitely find ways to manipulate the mind. But
Mhm.
I just think that if we're in the era where they're still in our brainwaves, there's
Mhm.
only one thing that we have with us 24/7 that I think would be capable of something like that.
Mm.
And we should start paying very, very close attention to the possibilities of what the 4G waves or 5G waves or anything like that are
Mhm.
actually capable of.
And could these capturing or harvesting devices be like he said, AirPods, phones, Alexas, all of
Yeah.
these things like this?
Yeah. Now see where I think that there's a pattern of multiple things going on.
Mhm.
The AI that they're presenting to us now, they've been had, and a lot of the things in our phones, like ad wise, they can wire them to think for themselves.
Mhm.
Cause it's like, bro, look at some of the shit that pops up, bro. Like, how do they have ads so perfectly put in everything, just ingratiated in everything?
Oh
Some
yeah.
of these ads, you're like, bro, how did this even get on my phone? Who paid for this ad? It looks like shit,
Oh.
but
Yeah.
it's there.
Oh, two things that I've vividly noticed was one, I was talking to my fiance about something, and not even at home. And then by the time we get home, we're looking at a show, and lo and behold, on the TV, the ad for the exact thing I was talking about pops up. That was one. This happens all the time, but I usually forget about it. But I remember
Mhm.
this one. This one is one that kind of blew my mind, and I was trying to do some mental gymnastics about it. Is I mow my lawn like every other person on the planet, and
Right.
usually when I'm mowing my lawn, there's like certain podcasts I'll listen to because I know, all right, I got about an hour, like bum bum bum, I'll fit this in. So before I get to do the lawn, I'm searching on my phone and I can't find the podcast. I'm like, where the fuck is I know I can't find it. I can't find it. As soon as I get to a certain spot in my yard with the lawnmower where I normally will take it and do the volume, when I open up YouTube, the video pops up right there. So it waited until I was in the location where I'm standing normally when I'm listening to it. I couldn't find it in my algorithm, but as soon as I pivoted and got into that spot, it showed up. So there's a
That's
lot of things
crazy.
working in the background, and people, I'm thinking like, oh, maybe it's geolocation, which it may be. It may be it pinged where I was at. Who knows? But there's just a lot. We all have to be able to understand. We don't understand exactly what's going on.
Yeah, and the technology that you think is so far fetched is not.
Mm-hmm.
Like again, what we were talking about with the music, you have something called brainwave entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Brainwave entertainment, literally. Hold on, we're gonna look at it because we're gonna give you like a definition of it real
Yeah.
quick
Let me.
because this is a legitimate thing. There are people if you've ever heard of backmasking or something like that, where something can be put in the beat of a song, or if you play a person's lyrics backwards, it'll spell out a different message. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's called backmasking. But that's an idea of like brainwave manipulation and things like that
Okay.
because you found it.
Yeah, I think I did here. Brainwave entertainment, also referred to as a brainwave synchronization or neutral entertainment, refers to the observation refers to the observation the brainwaves will naturally synchronize to the rhythm of periodic external stimuli, such as flickering lights, speech, music, or tactile stimuli.
Okay.
All right.
We had a more dumbed down version
Yeah.
earlier.
I think it upgraded into something that went
So
deep here on the definition.
what I can say is this. What that's saying in turn is
Mhm.
that sounds and lights, like when you go to a concert,
Mhm.
there's a reason that certain lights strobe the way that they do.
That's 100% what it's just said. Yep. Yep.
There's a certain reason that certain sounds are played the way that they are played and things like that, because they can tap into a different part of your brain and they can actually like almost hypnotize you into a certain feeling in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
This is why you can have people at a rock show, and no disrespect to rock or metal or nothing like that, but is it
Careful.
not weird if you're at a show and somebody bite the head off of a bat and nobody bats an eye? They're just all like, yeah.
It was one time.
No, but seriously, like
That was
just the
Ozzy too.
idea. Yeah.
And Ozzy also, side note, was in court for they thought he was hypnotizing people with reverse vocals. He actually went to the court
That's
for that.
the backmasking I'm saying.
Right, right.
So you can play multiple songs where you can say whatever you want, but you play it backwards, it's saying what people are saying. It's saying. Why does it sound like that, bro?
Yeah.
I've played my shit backwards before, and I don't hear no crazy messages that I didn't mean to put in there.
Right.
Yeah. But again, that's a different level of who has the mindset to do something like that.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
do you understand the level of understanding of minds and stuff like that you would have to even do something like that?
Mm-hmm.
So there are people that are dealing with all kinds of stuff like this every day to manipulate you, to manipulate the way you see things, the way you interact with things, the way things interact with you.
Yeah.
And I think this goes all the way back to that old conversation when people are like, are we living in a simulation? This is where that concept comes from, because so much of your optics, so much of the way your mind reacts to things, everything is all perception.
Yeah.
Because your mind triggers every reaction you have, so it can only base itself off of what it can anticipate.
Right. Right.
So there are times where people go through things and you might think it's crazy, like, dog, ain't no way I'm experiencing this. But you're experiencing it, you know what I mean? But your mind just, it's hard to process it. But you also have situations like this where there might be a very, very good reason why you can't process things the way you want to.
There's a third party puppeteering your thoughts and your feelings, for that matter.
Yeah.
Man.
Think about how crazy that is.
Do you, and this kind of, have you ever checked out those videos? I don't know if you do this or not, but if I'm having like a stressful, usually every day stressful. So if it's at night, I'm trying to find a video like at a certain hertz. Like you always see these videos, 435 hertz, binaural, blah blah blah, and just put those on and listen. Do you believe in that type of stuff, or do you think a lot of those things are hocus pocus, but there is actual stuff out there that works?
I wouldn't say I don't believe in it. It's not something I necessarily do. I've done it at times. But it was more like if I wanted to meditate or something like that, I would turn on whatever, like try to learn the or whatever it is for that meditative pose or whatever, and try to get that frequency, because they have like those sounds.
Yeah.
So I've done stuff like that, but again, it's not something I do like regularly. But
do you think those people are actually playing the? Because I feel like on YouTube people are just trying to get like view grabs, like, oh, this is the hertz that the blood. Because I've listened to the videos that are supposed to be the same hertz, and I can hear they're not even the same notes, or there's no way it's the same hertz. So it's kind of sucks. It made me actually want to start getting in the studio, since I have the equipment, and actually trying to create these things and see if we can mimic. Like I just learned that the natural note that is constantly going on Earth is F sharp, right?
Okay.
So and you can play F sharp, and I think for most people it's pleasing. Like when I put it on, it almost feels like, oh, it feels like a complete note. It doesn't feel like it's odd like minor or too sharp. It feels just right. And then you start looking up songs that were hits, and there's a lot of hit songs that were in the key of F sharp as well. So
Okay,
there might
yeah,
might be coincidental, or
I
that
don't
might
know.
not.
Stuff like that isn't coincidental.
Mhm.
Again, that's the frequencies we talking
Yeah.
about.
Mhm.
Like if you can tap into the resonant frequency of the earth, I find it very hard to believe that people won't find it, you know what I mean, amusing or something pleasing about it
Yeah.
aesthetically or audibly.
Mhm.
But that kind of thing too, man, I'd have to do some research, but there was a law that was passed, I believe in the 40s,
Mhm.
that made sure that every song that ever got put on the radio was tuned to a certain hertz, like a
Hmm.
certain level of hertz, because I believe 432 is like,
No, oh, I know what you're saying, I think.
yeah,
Because we still use it now, producers use it now. I think it's 440 hertz. It's something about that. I don't know the history behind it, but I just know from recording and stuff that 440 is like what it needs to be at 440 hertz. Some aspect of the when you're making a a song, when you're in the background, like the technical part of it, 440 is a number that always pops up. I should know why. I just don't, but
yeah,
yeah.
but
Mhm.
see that kind of concept, if a song is tuned to a frequency that's off of it, it's like,
Mhm.
to my knowledge, like I feel like that's why certain songs,
Mhm.
like certain woke songs, if it's not done in a certain specific type of cadence or a specific certain type of way,
Mhm.
people won't hear it at all because of the differences in the frequency that the song is on compared to the frequency that is
Mm.
being played at, if that makes sense.
Wow, that's I don't it kinda went over my head. I'm trying to piece that together.
Like, okay, like I guess in a more layman's term, let's say, like we were talking about earlier, how people vibrate at a higher level or a
Okay.
lower level due to their actions, their thoughts, all of those kind of things.
Right.
Music, I feel like the songs you make vibrate at their own level. I
Okay.
feel like if I came out with a song strictly talking about killing motherfuckers and doing the
Mhm.
most debaucherous things possible, it
Mhm.
would be a low vibrational song.
Oh, I got it. I gotcha.
Yeah, so it's like, imagine if I put a high vibrational energy into a song or
Mhm.
into some music I made,
Mhm.
but when it got played back to you, it was filtered through something at a way lower frequency. It might create this discrepancy that makes it hard for it to hit to you the same way that it does
Wow.
as it
Yeah.
should have been. You get
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. It's a possibility. It's
Interesting.
definitely a possibility. It's make my producer mind is now trying to connect the dots of how to do something like that. Yeah, I got to look more into this. I love this, man, because I really do think I don't think X is lying. I do believe that there's a lot of things happening with frequencies that if we could figure it out, it's such a net positive. Because I think it's used in a bad way to probably oppress us and do things to us to
Yeah.
make us depressed, maybe to help us get on antidepressants and pad the pockets of the. Who knows? Who knows all's
Yeah,
playing
because
this game?
you always know it go back to money
It's
somehow for them. But yeah.
somehow there's something, but if we can understand and take the power, especially nowadays with us, everybody being able to create audio, if we learn that, man, that's unlocking some strong shit, I think.
Hell yeah, I
Hell yeah.
agree.
Fuck yeah. All right. I love it, man. Well, yeah, I think that's about our time, man. That felt pretty good. You gonna listen to some binaural beats now and let me know what you think?
I don't know. I might do a track.
All right. Right on. Right on. Till next time.